What's going on, Knights of Fulcrum? It is me, your boy Gilbert,
And me, Harry.
and it is finally time. It's been a long few months, and we finally have something to review, and it's one of my personal favorite things. I think the best thing Marvel's ever made. What is it, Harry?
It is the X-Men 97.
Okay, none of that. We're done with that, so we don't get in trouble. Anyway, but yeah, we're going to be doing X-Men '97 season 2, and it's a 3-episode premiere, which I'm not sure if that means that, like, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure why they always do this. It's nice to have something to like multiple episodes to talk about, but I don't know why they always do this. Like, you think this is just to get us hooked on the season early on?
Yeah, or sometimes I think it's a scheduling thing. Like we've seen it happen a couple of times before, where it's like, oh, we want this show to be finished so that the next Disney Plus show they're going to watch that, and I mean, it's not the right time for it now, but around Halloween it happens a lot where they're like, you got to rush through stuff in October so that on Halloween they can drop something special for that.
Yeah, so they can drop Werewolf by Night 2 or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, I guess that's fair. I didn't think about that, but I'm like, yeah, I guess, yeah. As soon as we get to probably August or September, they're gonna drop another show. It's gonna be, well, or maybe they're waiting until we get to Spider-Man, which is in, that's actually, I think that's in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, you're right. That is coming in a couple of weeks.
So yeah, they're just building up to everything. They're waiting until Doomsday. uh, but yeah, not Spider-Man, X-Men season or '97 season 2. Not a bad season or not a bad series so far. I mean, for the 3 episodes that dropped, I think that we talked about it a little bit before we got on here that the episodes in season 1 were kind of like felt a little more self-contained, or even like they're just kind of doing like just reminding you about characters who exist in this universe, and then they're kind of fucking off with that. This one, it seems a little more like they're one episode to the next and like they're just keeping this story of Apocalypse going, just like they're focusing a lot on the Age of Apocalypse stuff.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, and we have a sort of broader story tying it all together. So I think I don't remember this from the ending of the last season, but when we come into this season, we have the X-Men are sort of split up. A group has been sent into the far future, into the Age of Apocalypse, with Scott and Jean going into the future, and they're currently with their son Nathan before he becomes Cable.
Mm-hmm.
And along with them, we've got Wolverine. And who else with them? Storm is with them.
Yeah, so I just recently watched season 1 as well before I jumped into this. So yeah, at the end of that, like the asteroid M is about to just be destroyed. They're about to all die, and then a portal opens and they all get separated. And yeah, so it's Storm, Wolverine, Scott, and Jean are in the future, and then I think it's Professor X, Magneto, Rogue, and Nightcrawler are in the past.
And Beast is in the past as well. He's using the robots that are being destroyed.
That's right, and Beast. So yeah, it's like, so the team has been split up, but for the first episode, or for the first couple of episodes, they really only focus on the future, but I have my problems with that because it kind of bummed me out that they spent 2 episodes on the future stuff and they didn't show any of like the horrible, like, all they really showed was Apocalypse's like base, but they didn't show anything of what the humans are having to go through or what mutants are going through. Like they just show like a big desert wasteland, but they don't really show any of like the lore. I guess they don't really give me any lore for why Apocalypse's future is so bad, besides just, oh, that's ugly.
We're not sort of dealing, I suppose, because they've changed how the Age of Apocalypse is working here, but we don't have some of the things that you kind of expect to see from it, like the Weapon X Wolverine missing a hand. You don't get any of that sort of stuff from the Age of Apocalypse because Wolverine is obviously there, although he does have something because he's still missing his adamantium after the end of last season where Magneto ripped it off his skeleton.
We do get to see some of that. Like that was something I thought was pretty cool as well in the opening. You see when Wolverine does that, his like claws are bone claws now, and they actually make the ripping sound when they grow.
They also have a really kind of like oof moment where he is attacking some like apocalypse robots, and his claws snap when he tries to like cut one open.
Yeah, and he's just like and starts ripping its head. Like it actually hurts him when he breaks his claws off on its head. So I'm like, that's kind of cool to have that little detail of him not being as strong as he was, or as like powerful as he was. So yeah, here, let me go ahead and bring up the yeah, the video, which I obtained through completely legal means. Let's just say, and oh, I think Harrison froze.
I think I'm
Oh,
back.
oh, there we go. So yeah, but we see. Yeah, so after we get our opening, which is basically just the same, it's usual opening. We get to see Forge and what's his name, Bishop. Like again, they're which we saw them at the end of the last season. They got together. They're like, all right, we need to bring the X-Men back. We need to go through time to go fix this whole thing. And I think it's kind of funny. I know that why they do this. Like they have a Bishop go to the past and Forge go to the future, which I think is the hilarious thing because it shouldn't Bishop be the one going. He knows what he's actually going into. Like they say
Yeah,
that like, oh, you're in love, so I'm going to send you to the future. I'm like, nah, dude, send him to the past. He's much safer back then.
I suppose that's one thing. It was a heavy part of the last season. I don't know how you feel, but I am not that invested in Storm and Forge's relationship. I'm happy for them. I just I don't need to know what's happening next.
Yeah, no, I'm cool with it, but I'm pretty sure when the original series did the Days of Future Past stuff, they showed that Storm got with Logan. They've also had like some. I'm pretty sure they've had one where Storm like had like a romance with someone else. I'm like, yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm like, it's good for them, but I don't need another romance between like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not that interesting, and unfortunately, it often means that you get like a very clear goal. That like we currently have this very clear goal of getting everyone back from the various parts of the timeline and from preventing the Age of Apocalypse. And then it's like, oh no, but we've got to take a minute out to go and make sure that they're going through couples counseling. Which, to be fair, they don't do a huge amount on, and we get much more of that with Jean and Scott, obviously. But it's something that X-Men has burnt me before, like this in the past.
Yeah. Well, how do you mean?
The X-Men has a habit of doing this sometimes, where you will end up having to spend a lot of time based on the romantic interludes of the X-Men. And sometimes it really gets in the way. I think that there are some stories where it sort of works out a bit. Like I think a lot of people have a soft spot for Remy and Rogue, that pairing, Gambit and Rogue. But when you spend a lot of time, especially on sort of earlier shows that spend a lot of time on the Wolverine, Jean Grey, Scott Summers love triangle, it gets quite tedious, and then they build that into every single adaptation that ever exists.
Yeah, and I like how even in the first season of this, when they try to do the whole like Wolverine, like they're on the outs because he's also cheating on her with her clone and whatever. Like, so she goes and kisses Wolverine, and he's just like, "No, you're with him. Go back to the Boy Scout." I'm like, "What the? No, what are you doing?" So yeah, I feel like they just want to put that drama in there just to have drama. So
yeah.
So that is to say that I don't think that these two are going to last very long, or Storm and Forge.
Yeah, it does have a slight feeling that something very bad is going to happen to one of them, probably Forge.
Yeah, no, they're not going to kill off Storm. Like that's just stupid. But yeah, so they show Forge in let me see, in 30, what is it, the 40th century? There's like 3690 or something like that.
Yes, something on those lines. Yeah.
And we get to see that like all we really see of this is that there's like a bunch of Terminators that are like loyal to Apocalypse, but like again, we don't really see what's going on with we see destroyed buildings, we see this, but I'm like, I don't know. To me, it just it seems like a kind of empty because after that, we have Storm, Storm, Jean, and Cyclops and all them show up, and we see that there's a caravan of people of mostly mutants. But I'm like, again, I would like to see what society is like, if there is a society, like what Apocalypse's like world is, like what hit. You know what I mean? Like, I would like to see a little more of that because when we get to episode 3 and they show like the Egyptian stuff, like they show all of that, they have like a massive battle where there's robots and Egyptian soldiers with like rifles and stuff, and a dude riding a giant elephant. I'm like, I just felt like this one was kind of like, for spending 2 episodes on it, it just felt kind of like empty,
They do seem to be spending or sort of counting on explaining things later, and that they're gonna perhaps allow us to sort of learn more about the story as it goes on, because we get sort of dropped into the middle of everything. So obviously we can see on this image here that we have Jean and Scott are with Nathan, as they're calling it in the moment, so a young Cable, and they are with this caravan. There is a mystic person in this caravan who has prophesized that he's going to become Cable and that he has to, and he's sort of almost a religious figure amongst their community.
Like, so I guess I forgot about this part, but yeah, they do show like, oh, apocalypse, it's horrible, but that's like the only part they show of that. We don't when they actually even attack his base, they don't show people in like prison cells. They don't show, like, I don't know. It bummed me out, but yeah, no, you're right. They do talk about this mother, Ascani. I forget what her name is.
Yes, who I'm assuming who I'm, what that word was.
I'm guessing is Jean Grey from another timeline or from the future.
Oh yeah,
like because like we see her use her powers and she has like a phoenix like around her. So I'm like, oh, you're obviously Jean Grey.
That makes sense,
at least to me. Because then also she also had she's the one the older lady. She's the one who convinces Storm that she can use her like cosmic powers as well. She can create a sunstorm.
Yeah, we'll probably get onto that later because it felt like some tomfoolery to me.
Like,
and it feeds in a little bit to one of the things that happens with Storm and Forge. That there's a very weird moment where Forge is like, this might not work out between you and me. I'm a man of science, and you're a woman of faith. And I was like, all right. I didn't think that was what anyone was talking about, but okay. And it did sort of hit me a bit more when she then did her solar storm. And it's like, oh, she does kind of like almost cast spells or like make prayers to the powers of nature when she actually uses her powers.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool, and it makes it seem like she actually, like, yeah, her you know, being all like theatrical like that is actually necessary. But still, though, at the end of the day, I just think I thought it was a goofy thing to be like, oh yeah, she can control solar storm. I'm like, dude, that's not what that power is. I'm like, come on. Unless it's like her power is not weather, it's like something much deeper. Like she can literally control like the universe.
Yeah, and I wasn't 100% against it. I was like, okay, I guess the sun fit. You know, if you can control the wind, then I guess maybe you can control the sun, and if you can summon rain, you can do that. But what she does with it is strange because it's just, I don't think it's how the sun works. Like she summons the sun to hit someone on Earth, and at first I was like, oh, is it like, you know, like sometimes we hear all these things about, you know, a big solar storm is coming, there's going to be loads of sunspots and it'll mess with electronics on Earth. So I thought maybe this was like essentially like an EMP that she was creating to shut down all these apocalypse terminators. But no, she shoots a ray of sun at someone.
Yeah, well, I mean, she uses it to like, yeah, she shoots it at the ship so they can power it up. Because their engines, like the engines of this weird like ship, require like solar or cosmic energy or something like that. Which again, that's a whole other thing. So again, I want to talk about this lady. Like she is needlessly weird. I'm like, why are you hanging upside down? Why is there fire all around you? She talks all like cryptically. So, oh well, you know, Nathan has to be here. He's a child of spring. You're a child of summer. You know, like she says that kind of crap, like as if it means anything. And I'm just like, okay, you know, we don't. I don't need, like, this is why I hate time travel stories. This is why time travel stories are always the worst, because it's like, well, he needs to be here. Well, what if them stealing him is also what needed to happen for him to become Cable? It's like, but isn't the fact that Cable already exists mean that he's gonna be anyway? Like, guys.
Yeah, sure. It's how do you do it? Is time a closed loop? So anything that we do now, it was something that was always there within the timeline, or is it truly you know, the Marty McFly situation that if they bring him into the present, he's going to be there long enough that Cable's going to disappear out of the Polaroid.
Exactly. And like there was I think there was a part where they talked to Bishop about it, and he's like, well, time doesn't work that way. It's a book that's constantly being rewritten and going back a few pages and being rewritten again. I'm like, but and later on in this part, I think they actually even say in the second episode, when the X-Men are about to go back like to their own time, he says about like, oh, well, you need to go back to your time so you can, stop the events that haven't happened yet. I'm like, but you're in the future. If this is the future, they have already happened. It's like, that's not how. It's like, God damn it.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, and it's then like so if we if you take like the more kind of MCU version of things where it's the multiple timelines and sort of where kind of Loki all tied into it, does it then become a thing of, oh well, actually this is a different universe, so we could save our universe by taking Cable back or preventing this happening, but this Age of Apocalypse will always be the same because this is a different timeline and this one can't be changed, but that one can. Yeah, it's a lot, and when you're vague about your timelines, it's a problem. And to be fair, the X-Men has done a lot of timeline jiggery pokery, like through all the comic books. So I can't be that mad at them.
I feel like they're doing it a lot more now because of things like Loki, because of the event like Endgame and Infinity War, like making such use of it. It's just like now we can do it and we can just explain away however we want. Oh, it's just an alternate universe. It made an alternate timeline. Oh, the Watcher came in, the TVA, they came in and erased all of that. You know what I mean? But anyway, so to get back to Forge goes back to the past, or he goes to the future. He ends up finding Storm and Jean and Scott, and then they tell him this whole thing about how, we're gonna raise our son. If we couldn't raise him as a baby, we're gonna at least raise him a little bit as a child. Which I love that trope of like, oh, we had a baby, and then he got stolen, and then time travel jiggery happened, and now he's an adult. And now, so we can still be with our son, but we don't have to deal with all that diaper changing BS.
Yeah. Now he's like, what is he supposed to be, like a young teen or something? Like at this point,
he's like 13 maybe.
Yeah, and he's already infected with his weird disease. I do kind of like there is a moment where they are encouraging him to relinquish his control on the virus and let it infect his body even further, so that he can get them out of their control restraints.
Dude, that is a crazy thing to just like, yeah, be our son. Like you're our son, so be our son. And then he lets the fucking virus infect it. Like what?
Yeah, that whole scene's quite strange. It's very heavy on that child. When they just go, by the way, we lied to you. We're your parents. We're the people who abandoned you. At least you think we abandoned you.
It is kind of a sweet moment when they recite that like speech and everything that they told him when he was a baby, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, because it's obviously that's something that's been probably stuck with him his entire life. So, that's kind of a nice moment. But still, though, it's like if you actually look at it for more than a few seconds, it's like, actually, wait, what?
Yeah, and now turn your entire arm into metal. Okay, yeah. All right.
I kind of like how they're trying to during the scene when they're like kidnapping him. They're trying to talk to themselves, like, oh, what are we doing this? Is this a good idea? And he can hear every word. Like, I thought that's kind of cool. Let me see here. And then it also, I like it. I think it's funny how they almost immediately get attacked. And like, it's like, well, who could have seen this coming?
Yeah, by a group of their sort of Apocalypse's minions. I don't know whether these presumably are sort of like the new Four Horsemen.
Yeah, that was something I wanted to talk to you about. How did you feel about these? Because we got like a geisha lady, we got Aladdin
Jafar.
or Jafar. We got Jafar on a magic carpet. We got a Confederate soldier.
And the little drummer boy.
And then we got fucking Maui from Moana.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel. I was not a fan of the drummer boy. I'm not. I think there have been some mutants that have done it, and I suppose you have, say, someone like Gambit, who his powers require a sort of conduit to go through. So he obviously has the playing cards and he uses the bow staff, and then but the kinetic energy is coming from him. Who's this guy who just has a drum?
Okay, so
is the drum special or is he special?
That's an excellent question, but I googled it. Apparently, that is like a deep cut from the comics.
Oh.
Apparently, this guy is Jeb Lee, the drummer guy. Yeah, let me try to back it up as much as I can. But yeah, the guy who's drumming, is Jeb Lee, and he is a mutant Confederate spy and drummer. he acts as Famine, one of the Apocalypse's lethal four horsemen, and he features in the acclaimed animated series X-Men '96. Yeah, so he is apparently from. Yeah, like this is the AI overview. So let me look at. Apparently, yeah, he's a dude from like the Confederate War, and he was a mutant then. I'm like, what the fuck? But and apparently he never changed his outfit. He's just like always just like, yeah, I'm gonna go in 2026. I'm gonna go with.
Yeah, this sort of suggests that then Apocalypse has gone through time, Bill and Ted style, to collect people from different eras in the past and then take them back to give his school report.
I mean, kind of, yeah. Unless he's like frozen them, like made them immortal or whatever, and now they just, like, no, I think I like in my Confederate outfit. I don't. There's no reason to change it. 1,000 years later, no reason to change this.
Just a bunch of people are like, I'm really sure about that. It's very it's insensitive. Now, I don't think people were. No, it's all right. That's fine.
It's like, no, we're cool. No, don't worry about it. No, they won't. No one cares. It's like, nah, but.
Does he get days off? Does he just spend them hanging out at like reenactment sites?
Oh, well, I don't know how many days off he get because I feel like on principle he shouldn't be allowed to celebrate Juneteenth. On sheer principle.
yeah. I don't know how Apocalypse is for his PTO.
Yeah, no. So I think we should stop joking about that. Anyway, so yeah, they get attacked by the Four Horsemen. They get kidnapped, and then they have an argument about whether or not it was all like ordained to happen, that Cable had to be, captured by Apocalypse in order to become Cable, which again, I'm not crazy about that, but hey, we get another Wolverine scene, right? So there's that.
There was a moment, I was watching this and my girlfriend was there, and she saw Wolverine. She was like, why is he wearing a mask? And I was like, it's quite a good point, actually. What is the mask? What purpose does it serve here in the Age of Apocalypse?
I mean, it doesn't serve what. My question is, in the Age of Apocalypse, where all these other people are wearing like refugee, like they're wearing robes and like cobbled together clothing, where did you all find your X-Men? Like Forge had one when he traveled there, but all y'all have like X-Men armor and like something like that. Where did you get that?
Oh yeah, were they not wearing that when they went through the portals?
Well, they were, but they were wearing their old versions. Like they were wearing like the old like 90s or 80s versions. Like she was wearing her like Jean Grey was wearing her green outfit, and then later on she's now wearing like this whole like jumpsuit that's yellow, and they all have an X on it. And I'm like, where did you get matching uniforms?
Okay, yeah, that's weird.
Like you are in an apocalypse scenario. Like you were literally in an apocalypse. Where did you find matching outfits? And then yeah, Wolverine. He just wants it's rule of cool. He just wants to look cool.
Yeah,
like no reason to hide his identity.
he reminds me of Drivel when Batman was a pirate.
Yeah, that does exact. All he needs is a hat. Let me see. So yeah, but they have like they get together. They form a plan. And this is where they have the thing of Storm being told that she can control this to the cosmic winds because she saw her do it in another timeline. That's what she says. And I'm like, okay, so you're either Jean Grey or you're someone who was like infected by the living sentinel virus thing that they had, because she has like the same lines that the other people have.
It does. It made me wonder a bit. Do you remember there's a character called Phoenix 2 in X-Men?
I do not. Who is Phoenix 2?
Phoenix 2 is Rachel Summers. They have no idea. They have no idea she's from the future or the daughter, or is the daughter of the X-Men Cyclops a Marvel girl. Sorry, whatever wiki I've just opened has like the worst intro for this character. So yeah, she is a daughter of Jean Grey and Scott Summers in an alternate timeline. She inherited her mother's superior abilities and has been trained to use them since infancy. She was in the Excalibur comic series for a while. And I don't know, when I saw this character, and when you mentioned that, I was like, maybe they could be bringing in Phoenix 2 somehow.
That would make sense, because again, she has like the weird fire aura around her. She's not quite Jean Grey, but they're trying to make her out to seem like she has like the same powers. And so I don't know. I see this, And then here we go right there. There we go. Hang on. There's a scene. Let me see if I can get it. If I can just. So here, let me pull it up. So like right here, she's talking about how she pulled them through time, and you can see in her eyes there's the Phoenix like logo.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm going to give some credence to, I'm gonna say this is probably Phoenix 2.
Yeah, either that or like you say, just another Jean Grey.
Mm-hmm. From an alternate universe, but either way, like I'm like they're definitely doing some like deep cut comic book stuff here with this season. And I think that's cool. I mean, I don't know necessarily who is freaking out over these like Easter eggs, but I'm happy that someone probably is.
Yeah, I'm quite glad they're doing it. I think one of the things that I think this has done really well, and this continues to do so far, is sort of keep the spirit of the '97 animated show. Well, of that kind of like how it's a good rundown of X-Men lore. Like it's kind of it's sort of these good digestible chunks of like big X-Men storylines. So we had the House of M a bit with Asteroid M in the last season. And now we're playing more with some of the stuff that happened with the Age of Apocalypse, and it's always sort of done that a bit like how the Spider-Man animated series in the '90s did the same thing. It's a great crash course in Spider-Man continuity.
Yeah, and in like storylines that you probably should be familiarized with if you're going to be a fan of this. Yeah, I know what you mean. And so speaking of that, let's we talked about this in a little bit where they're all on on like the prison train or whatever, and they're being transported. And yeah, they encourage him to like let the virus win a little bit, or let the virus take him over a little more, so he can like break them out of there. I mean, we already kind of talked about how like that's bad parenting, but I mean, I guess if it works.
There's a moment where Scott, I think, says something along the lines of like, your mother's like one of the most powerful telekinetics there is, and I can shoot laser beams, be our son. And it's like, yeah, but what if he didn't inherit cool powers? Like, yeah, he's a mutant, but like, what if he was like, oh, actually, nah, like my big thing is I can like smell, I don't know, any food you want to know about, I can find it just by the smell.
Mm-hmm. Or yeah, like what if your power is just like blob, like you just get fat?
Yeah, like they have done some things in this, I suppose, where the X genes of parents sort of seem to appear in their children. But I'm like, I don't know, that's sort of not how genetics always work. I mean, like you get stuff for things that skip a generation, or like, oh yeah, you've got like this, like my granddad had blue eyes, and me and your dad don't have blue eyes, but your granddad did, so that's why you have them.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be kind of interesting if because they talked about that a little bit in the first season of like, Jean hoping that her son would be a human, like he would be born a human, which, I also that's a whole other thing. I argue that they are still humans. They just because you can shoot lasers out of your eyes does not make you less of a. You were still born to human parents. It's like I'm a mutant. Yes, I have green skin. I'm a mutant. I'm like, yeah, but your parents were both human beings, so therefore you are just a human being with a different mutation. But anyway.
Yeah, Homo superior, Charles.
No, but at any rate, what I was gonna say is that if that is a possibility, I think it'd be kind of interesting to have like two like Omega level mutants get together, and then they just have a human, just have a regular old ass human.
I do like the idea of like, yeah, just a regular person like hanging around like the Charles Xavier Academy, like Filch in the Harry Potter books. Like he's like, oh yeah, like he's the janitor because he's just a guy.
Like that's the thing. It's like if your parents are like Magneto, or like let's say like Rogue and Magneto, whatever, like they have a kid, or Storm and Forge, or Jean and Scott. If they end up having just a normal regular human, does that human still get to live at the Xavier mansion? Or do they get in just because their parents were like, they're a legacy, they get in just because their parents were one?
Yeah, their grandfather then, yeah. Yeah, something like that. Like I like the idea of like it'd be quite tragic. It'd be interesting if there was a story of like Wolverine like having a kid that was just a regular person, and he's like, there's Wolverine not aging, and it's just his child is dying over there like 100 years later.
Oh, that'd be tragic.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now we need to write that comic book because that sounds like But yeah, I just like the idea that there'd be an X-Men just like, what's your superhero name? I'm just Guy. Yeah, I'm just here.
I'm just dude. I'm basically Morph's friend. That's pretty much my job here. I keep Morph happy.
Pretty much. Let me see here. So okay, so yeah, we get like we already talked about this part as well, where Storm like calls upon mystical like the power of the cosmos.
Yeah, to supercharge their solar power helicarrier,
which is cool to an extent, but it's also like again goofy. I'm like I feel like we're either misrepresenting what her powers are, or we're just giving her more like we're ex machina ing it. You know what I mean? We're just gonna let her just do whatever she wants, just so that we can move the story along.
Yeah, it's unfortunately a bit of a weakness that I'd say is gone through a lot of X-Men properties, of that you sort of expand and expand people's powers so much, and there are these things like, oh well, they're omega level mutants. And it's like everyone's an omega. Forge is an omega level mutant, like canonically. And like I was talking about this, I kind of don't like Forge. I think Forge's powers are stupid. Like
he can tinker, like
yeah,
he's got basically the same powers as Tony Stark.
Well, that's it. Like, either he's just like really smart and good with like tools and knows what, but they're like, oh no, he inherently knows how to build anything he wants to build. And I'm like, okay, but it doesn't mean he can though. like you know, like if
just because you have the idea for it doesn't mean you have the Like just because you have the idea for it doesn't mean you can just suddenly build whatever you need the resources. So I'm like, yeah, he's just Tony Stark without the money.
Yeah, there's this thing of like, oh, Forge is working on something, and it's always like it's like Mr. Fantastic in the old Fantastic Four stories, where he's currently building the special gun that will save the day, and it'll take an afternoon. Whereas like, well, is it actually no? This is going to take 6 months because I've got to like source some shit that I don't have in this shed.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing they kind of just yada yada over how they get all the stuff, or like they in the first season they went through 3 blackbirds and they even say, oh, this is 3 blackbirds in as many months. Hank's gonna be pissed. I'm like, how did you just build a fucking like supersonic ship in like a week? Like that's not how that works.
I'm starting to question where all your money's coming from, Charles.
You never hear about how Charles is independently wealthy. I'm like, it wouldn't surprise me if he's turns out to be a crypto bro or something like that, or he's actually like he's funding the AI data centers somewhere.
yeah. Like, do you own an emerald mine, Charles? Is that what's going on here?
He's got some blood diamonds just sitting around in the Xavier mansion.
So actually, yes, as it turns out, the Xavier family owns most of North Africa.
So, I mean, wouldn't I just say, like, Tony Stark was a weapons manufacturer. Like, how do you think fucking Xavier got rich? It's like, anyway, moving on. So yeah, we do get to have this pretty cool scene where they attack Apocalypse's like, base. I do kind of like that the what's it the line of it's like who are you to think that you can attack us or whatever. It's like, in our time, we're called the X-Men. I'm like, that's kind of awesome. Like them playing the original theme, them and the fight scene. I'm like, that's okay, fine. You got me. You got me with the member berries. Like I was real happy with like this whole scene with like them like fighting the Horseman Apocalypse and then just like completely owning. It made it seem like that like Apocalypse is really not that big of a threat, but like also they even I guess they kind of like address that because in the next or this episode he also goes like I need to attack them at their weakest, the 90s.
Oh my god, they do that so many times in these 3 episodes. I think at least once an episode, I think twice in a couple of episodes they do that in the 90s.
Yeah, no, Forge does, or not Forge. Bishop says that he's like, we need to bring the X-Men back to the 90s. It's like, yeah, we know what time. It's like if you're in this time like show, you know what time it is. You don't. It's like no one it's like we need to bring the X-Men back to 2026, which is our current time. It's like everybody knows what year it is, man. We don't need to, well, and I get it. It's for the audience. That's entirely for us, not for them. But I think it's just funny is that we're going back to when the X-Men were the most vulnerable in the 90s. I'm like, is that when they were the most vulnerable? because I feel like when they're running away from your robots on a like was it a caravan being pulled by a fucking cow? I'm like, I feel like that's their most vulnerable.
They're pretty vulnerable. They don't have their base of operations. They don't have all their friends. They don't have like necessarily access to clean water or like any of the things that you would sort of need to like effectively be able to treat wounds and stay
Also,
alive reliably.
if we're gonna get technical, like so if it's like 97 now in the show, and Cyclops and Jean are like what like late 20s, early 30s maybe.
Yeah, something
Like,
like that.
okay, so just a thought that wouldn't like if you want to go take out some of the main X-Men, like Wolverine, he's been alive for centuries, so he's off. But if you want to take out the other X-Men, don't you just go back to like 1960 something, 1969, 1967, and just kind of
Yeah, just take care of that shit roadie style. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just like, and you're Apocalypse, you're a piece of shit. You would not have a problem doing just go into the Gray House in 1960 and just destroy them.
Yeah, no, yeah, actually do Terminator and like start Sarah Connoring this stuff. Like, we don't need to deal with this. We need to go find, Cyclops' dad before he becomes a space pirate.
Straight up, you already have the Terminators hunting down humanity. Like, there you go. Send a Terminator back and go take out John Connor.
Yeah, although Apocalypse seems to be his own Terminator at the moment. Oh yeah, and then we have this whole bit with the Cable sort of meeting the supercomputer that then joins onto his arm.
I mean, that's kind of a cool way to like show how he got his like the little like Cortana voice in his arm. Like, I kind of like that, and then it also shows how he cured himself from the virus. He basically made it part of him. Like, I really do enjoy that, and the like them like transitioning to Cable, like to full on Cable in the present day now. I'm like, that's kind of cool. I was about it.
How did you feel about the metal arm getting more buff as he gets older?
So can we just assume that he'd like repair or like added on to it, like he took a panel off and put a new one on to make it look bigger as he got bigger? Because the idea that he is sitting there just like ugh, and the metal is like stretching or whatever, getting big, I'm like, that's just goofy. Let's not do that, guys. Like, I'm just gonna, in my head canon, he repaired it like automail, like fucking Edward Elric.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, so that leads us actually into episode 2. So yeah, we end with Cable being like, when I was a boy, Apocalypse, blah, 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 doing his whole thing. And then we move on to episode 2, which was probably my favorite of them because it's the X-Force episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only problem is it's missing Deadpool. And I don't know if that's like a licensing issue or something, but
No, that shouldn't be. I don't think, should it? Because yeah, Deadpool he's a Disney character now. Now they own Fox.
yeah, I'm like, I didn't think it should be a problem, but I'm like, I noticed, maybe it's just that they just didn't. It's like, that's a goofy character. We don't need a fourth wall breaking, clown right now. Instead, we're just gonna like they did something really cool. They brought Jubilee into X Force, which is something I don't think has ever happened before. I'm like, I don't. Maybe I'm wrong on that one, but
it was a great Jubilee episode. It was really nice to see Jubilee this, and Jubilee gets some awesome action scenes throughout this episode.
Oh yeah, I see. I've been talking about it for a while. Like I vaguely remember going on a rant last season when we were referencing when we were reviewing all these, saying that I want more badass Jubilee scenes, or I want her to become like a badass character, and they fucking did it. They absolutely did it. Let's see here. So yeah, we start off with a number of characters. I'm curious. You seem to be like a pretty good X-Men like expert. Like, a lot more of the obscure ones. Who are these characters? Do you know any of these like mutants that we're seeing here?
I wasn't sure. I did spend some time looking at them, trying to see if I could recognize who they were supposed to be, but unfortunately, I didn't. I'm not sure on these ones. Some of them things felt familiar, like the guy with the hawk, but I don't recognize his look at all. So I'm sorry, I'm not sure. So actually, her. I don't know if she's supposed to be, but there is like who is she? It's not Wild Child, but there is like a Beast Girl character in X-Men.
Okay, so I'm like, yeah, I was just wondering because I'm like, I don't know. I'm like on the best of days, I only know the main X-Men crew. Like I had to Google like when I saw that Polaris in this, I'm like, wait, I thought that was Cersei, and I had to Google. I'm like, oh shit, Polaris, that's Magneto's daughter. And so yeah, so I'm like, I had to kind of, and I didn't realize that was Havoc. That this was when they show X Factor here. I didn't realize that was Havoc until I actually like went back and looked at and like, oh wait, they called him Alex. Wait, what the fuck? And then I'm like, oh shit, it's Cyclops' brother.
Yeah, I think that might be Wolfsbane. The sort of
The girl.
maybe, but I don't know. She doesn't look very furry. She looks more red. It's just like the clawed hands and the hair. It could be Wolfsbane, but I'm not certain.
So, and then
Oh
obviously
no, there's
Polaris.
Wolfsbane. I'm talking shit. That's Wolfsbane. Yeah,
Oh.
Wolfsbane, Multiple Man, Polaris,
Havoc, and whoever this dude is.
Yeah, who's the last guy?
I know I've seen him before, but I'm not. Yeah, I don't know who that character is.
Yeah, I've definitely seen him before as well. I can't remember.
At any rate, yeah, we get X Factor, we get X Force, and again, I feel like we were drastically denied a Deadpool.
That is Strong Guy.
Strong Guy. Wow, really working with these names.
DC
guys.
level name right there.
Strong Guy, love it. So yeah, we go from that. We get to join with Jubilee and Sunspot again. Which can we just talk about how like she instantly forgave him? Like I am a little pissed that there was no fallout for Sunspot for just joining with Magneto at the last fucking second in the first season. Same thing with Rogue. Like nobody, like they just they fought with Magneto. Wolverine got his bones ripped out, and then suddenly it's like, oh, you're on our side again. I'm like, what?
Magneto was right. That's the problem, though. You can't be mad at them because Magneto was fucking right.
I'm like, he was right about some things. He's not right about dropping a meteor. He's definitely not right about sending the Earth into the Stone Age and like wiping out all of like our ozone and shit. I'm like, bro, it's like gonna commit genocide on a world scale. But yeah, so Sunspot, I'm just like, I don't like you. Maybe just because I like Jubilee and he's sitting there boinking her. I'm like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I don't know if this was ever like an actual like comic storyline thing of her and Sunspot getting together. I don't remember it being anything, but maybe it was some version of the X-Men.
I don't think so either, and I don't believe there's ever been a thing of Jubilee joining X Force either. Like I don't. That's new to me, but
yeah,
I'm down for it. So yeah, like we get to have Cable comes to her. He tells her all the whole thing about him hunting down Apocalypse, which. So, all right, I'm curious. At any point during these 3 episodes, did you have a sense of deja vu? Because I'm pretty sure they already had like storylines like this show up, where Cable shows up to hunt Apocalypse, or Apocalypse shows up to attack the X-Men in the first season of this show. Wolverine even says, "Who's here? Apocalypse?" And it's like they already fought so they make it seem like this is like the first time they're going up against him, though.
Yeah, it is a bit weird that you're right. They definitely have done that. I mean, Cable started turning up really early on in the X-Men animated show. I think it's in the first season. And there are moments like when Master Mold is making all of its Sentinels that he turns up to destroy it, because I think he's there trying to stop Nimrod being created, or Sebastian, whatever his name is.
Bastion. I know who you're talking
about. Bastion, yeah.
But yeah, so that's the only thing I found a little weird, is that him being like, "I'm hunting Apocalypse." Like, yeah, dude, we know, Cable. We know who you are. Like, this has been your thing.
I was saying one of the things that I think is a strength of the X-Men is the fact that it has so many characters. It's quite good at going like, okay, we'll take some time off from these guys and we won't hang out with them for a while. We'll go hang out with someone else, so you don't get too bored of the same plots. But even the X-Men does manage to still repeat plots.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And like to the point where or like it retcons a few, because I remember watching I remember when first season 1 came out, I went back and watched some of the old season or the old series, and they never like to say that Magneto is Jewish. They talk about how he was like in a village, in like some like village or whatever, but they never say exactly what was going on. Or I'm just like, okay, but because of the popularity of the 2000s movies, we're just gonna make that his new story.
Yeah, I think these are all things that sort of came out slower. But when the '90s show started, he was much more like the OG Magneto. You know, he was just running the League of Evil Mutants.
The League of
dumbass
the
fucking
Brotherhood
name.
of Evil Mutants or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, the Brotherhood.
like
There you go.
we had Juggernaut running around. There was Mystique running. Yeah, like a lot of different stuff. But yeah, like I'm just saying, it's not a bad thing. It's just I noticed like the fact that they're trying to make it be like, oh yeah, it's a continuation of this old show, and you can very much see the difference in styles.
I will say one of the things that I think is fantastic on this, and the first season had it, and this season continues to. It is such an excellent update of the look of the '90s show. Of like it looks better, you can tell, but they still keep like the design philosophy of the '90s show, the color palettes. The like a lot of time is spent in sort of dark areas at night, so you get like these great blues and reds coming through in your palette, and it works fantastically.
Speaking of the style that they keep, I'm like, this was the best choice for them to make, of doing like a redo of the like opening but with X-Force instead. I don't know about you, I was so happy about this.
Yeah, this was awesome. This was tight.
Like it works really well, and again, it's one of those cool things, and it, like we already mentioned, this was like a really just great Jubilee episode. It like I don't know, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I think, Jubilee had some good episodes previously. I don't think, like in the original show, she wasn't wasted, but she was very much in that character of like, even when she was trying hard and succeeding, she was still the youngest member of the team, kind of one of the weaker members. Whereas in this one, she is facing down like armed guards. She is saving multiple defenseless people throughout it and doing some mad stuff.
I do want to talk about that. Like we it's kind of a little bit of way in the episode, but she does have probably one of the best. Like Marvel just continues to hit it with these hallways. Like we had a couple of them in Daredevil. We've had one in the Punisher. We've had I'm pretty sure we're gonna have one in the Spider-Man movie that's coming out. Like, and now she gets a hallway scene too, of where she just kicks the shit out of a bunch of different prison guards. Like, yeah, I'm gonna bring like hell. I'm gonna bring that up. Yeah, she like while they're on like fuck it, I'll talk about it here. So they go on a mission. They're hunting War, one of the like Horsemen of Apocalypse. Like they end up capturing him, and like in the process, she ends up getting captured by X Factor. God, there's too many X's, too many X teams. X Force.
This is a great scene. This whole bit here. So yeah, they go and find War. Again, also in keeping with the '90s show, they do that thing where they keep the old like original comic designs for a lot of characters. So War's going around with his little bowl cut, and the whole scene of Psylocke interrogating him, essentially, or they're doing interrogation, and Psylocke just goes, "Okay, I'm just going to invade his mind." And with Jubilee being like, "Whoa!" But the professor said that we shouldn't do things like that. Like, you should have consent before you go into someone's mind. They're like, "We don't have time. We ain't got time for this. Charlie isn't here."
Yeah, also, them just like shooting him, being like, "Nah, we're gonna put him down. He's brainwashed. Like, trust me, this isn't murder. It's mercy." I'm like, "Damn, bro."
And you've got Archangel saying stuff like that. Like, I think she does say like, "But you were also a horseman of apocalypse. Like, if you can come back, why can't he?" Then he's like, "I don't care."
Yeah, he's like, "That's because Rogue saved me, and now Rogue's gone." I'm like, "Yeah, but you're telling me there's no other way to save someone, or like you couldn't go find Rogue?" I don't know.
He's too goofy.
But,
That's the truth. It's like, we're X-Force. We're not letting someone with that haircut into the team.
looks like I see what you looks like a green Mo.
Yes.
It's like I wondered if you would get that reference, but yeah.
I know enough about the Three Stooges.
But yeah, so all right, so this is one other thing I wanted to talk about. They talk about how like when they were invading War's mind, he had like a mental block up, like a psionic or a psychic block or whatever that someone had put around his mind, and that he thought about diamonds. And so, oh, well, naturally, the only psychic we know about with diamonds is Emma Frost. And I'm like, yeah, but wasn't she like a government official at Genosha? Like, that's the only part I had a problem with, is that I'm like, she was literally like, like a major government official and like important and shit like that. And now she's like, oh no, I'm back to being the White Queen.
Yeah, I guess everyone took the genocide of Genosha really hard, and just went back onto their old bullshit. I like the fact that this scene, Emma Frost feels like the least ridiculously dressed. Like when they open that door and you see like Cable in his sports jacket and Jubilee in this like Chinese dress.
Yeah, I know what you. Well, I mean, if she is, I think isn't Jubilee supposed to be like Chinese or
She
Asian?
is. It doesn't mean that like she's like, I must wear the robe of my people, and then like you've got Sunspot apparently is cosplaying as Scarface.
Okay, yeah, no, fair enough. And yeah, and then we got just Cable just dressed like a bouncer. He just looks like a generic bouncer at any club.
It looks like an episode of Miami Vice. Like,
no, okay, I see what you're saying. I guess it's like, I mean, the reason they didn't have to do that, could have just easily worn their outfit, like their costumes, because that's basically what Emma Frost is wearing. She's just wearing her normal like X-Men, like the outfit she'd be wearing if she went into combat.
It's an insane thing to say when you look at what it is.
It's a corset with like thigh high boots and shit like that. But I'm like, hey, I'm not saying I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying.
Combat Victoria's Secret.
Yeah, see, Victoria's combat secret. Yeah, no, but so yeah, but they end up asking her about, oh well, you smuggled something for war, you smuggled something for the Horsemen of Apocalypse. We need to know what it is. And, she ends up taking them to this place, and ends up being a trap, of course, because she's a bitch.
Indeed.
And then yeah, so they like, again, this thing of like, she says this line of, it's like, hey, money is nice, but amnesty is even better, or like amnesty is the name of the game. I'm like, yeah, but what do you mean amnesty? You're literally a government official. Like, don't you have like political, like, what is it? The thing from Die Hard.
Diplomatic immunity.
There we go. You have diplomatic immunity.
What I will say to you is, how well did that work out for the president of Venezuela, Gilbert?
That's true. It's just been revoked.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, technically, like, it was quite a large act of war. The attack on Genosha. So yeah, I could see that essentially there might be powers that don't want her around if she, wanted to try and continue that government, or also the fact that they were mad about her connection to Magneto, who has suddenly disappeared and can't be tried for any of his attempted mass extinction crimes.
No, okay, you have a good point there. I mean, we get a pretty cool fight between X-Force and X-Factor, which I do enjoy. I think it's also funny that the whole time Emma Frost is just sitting there, like she turns like Diamond, just kind of just chills. I do appreciate the use of Psylocke. I'm like, I really do like Psylocke in just all of the scenes that she's in. Not just because I'm a simp.
Well, I always think it's interesting. Psylocke's a really kind of underused character in a lot of X-Men adaptations. She's very big in the comics, but you don't see many X-Men media doing much with Psylocke other than the animated series.
And so yeah, it's like, it's a good choice. I mean, I know that they did in it was the Apocalypse, like X-Men Apocalypse. They put Psylocke in there as one of the Horsemen for but it was Olivia Munn or Olivia Moon. So they had her in there for a minute, but it wasn't like, it wasn't like the greatest thing. It was just, it was Olivia Moon in Psylocke cosplay.
To be fair to them, that's quite an accurate costume.
No, it looked good. It looked real good. But I'm like, again, she was a small part of it, is all I'm saying. So it's not like it was, she was like a huge part of the movie. It was just kind of, she was there, But yeah, so you know what I want to see? I would love to see this dude, like Strong Guy or whatever his name is. I would love to see him in a live action X-Men movie. Like, how would you do that?
Hopefully better than they did Blob in X-Men Wolverine.
Fair. That is fair. Let me see here. So yeah, we have like them. They go on for a fight for a few minutes. Then Polaris just kind of traps all of them, which I think is funny. Is that if they have Polaris, why do you even bother fighting? Just you pull that out every single time.
Well, yeah, like I love Magneto. Magneto is one of my favorite comic book characters, but he is another one in the X-Men where the extent that they show his magnetism powers working is insane, and Polaris has very similar powers, being his daughter. So yeah, you just do that the entire time, and it also being based on the '97 show. Every single room you're made is entirely made out of metal panels that could just immediately be torn off the wall.
Straight up. So I'm like, if you have Polaris anywhere, I'm like, anything metal around, she wins. Just use her first. Havoc, he didn't even fight. He didn't even use his powers. He's just sitting there.
Yeah, Havoc didn't do anything. Yeah, that's true.
Let me see here. So yeah, we get them in prison, or we get her in prison. And being interrogated. We get to have like some. I want to say. It's definitely like what we see right here. Kind of feels like. Let me say, how do I say this without getting in trouble? Feels very cold, you know. Feels very like the agents of like Mr. Freeze agents, should I say? Or
yeah,
be walking around.
Appropriate for when you're called by someone who's called Emma Frost.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Frost is coming into your city and rounding up mutants.
There's some Frost agents. Like just like I see this scene and I'm like, okay, I feel like that is absolutely on. Also, I mean that too. We get a mutant who is in a whole like hijab and shit. I'm like that was not on accident.
That's
like,
yeah.
Just seeing stuff like I'm like, we get to see imagery of like I'm presumably these three are sisters, like families being torn apart,
being split up. Yeah,
more than a few people of color. I'm like, it's a little on the nose, but I'm just
Hey, it's other than the thing I've said about having a huge cast, it's one of the biggest powers of the X-Men, and why I think it's one of the best long-running comic series ever is because like it's about a situation that lends itself to a huge amount of social commentary, and you've seen it all the way through X-Men of it starting out being, having more of a kind of what is the word, sort of equal rights vibe to it, social reform, largely around race, and then it sort of kind of moves on, and you see loads of allegories for sexuality and for various other identities, and obviously you tie in Magneto and the Jewish element to it, and anti-Semitism, and everything that happened there. Yeah,
it works across the board for any kind of like oppression or any kind of like racism, sexism, any kind of ism you can think of. Like it works across the board, and I'm just like, I noticed it right away when I saw this. I'm like, oh shit, dude, they're not pulling any punches with the current administration.
And it's the second one they've done this year of Hero has to go break people out of cages because they've been put in by government agents.
I mean, have you watched any of The Boys, of that last season of The Boys? It got pretty on the nose.
No, we're doing The Boys as well. Yeah, because I was thinking of Daredevil Born Again. Daredevil Born Again had that whole bit going getting people out of actual cages, and it was always good to see Swordsman having some action for once.
That is true. Yeah, I forgot about that scene. But yeah, you're right. They had the whole thing of him having to release people out of the cages, like in Fisk's like underground, like hidden compound or whatever. Oh man. But yeah, so we end up getting like a scene like that. We Polaris shows up and feels bad, she feels bad, so she releases Jubilee, and then Jubilee goes on again, probably the coolest 2 minutes of this entire like 3-episode premiere. And it was pretty great. I like how she goes full on Star-Lord, like puts on her headphones and then like just completely like fucks shit up, and it was pretty great. I enjoyed it, and then I've been wanting more good Jubilee stuff, and having this scene was actually pretty great.
It was really good, and I think Jubilee sometimes gets treated like her powers are sort of useless, and she just like dazzles people. But if it essentially is just fireworks, you can do a lot of damage with fireworks in an enclosed space.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, also like they're loud, they're bright. it seems like she can also mess with like electronics somewhat with her power. So I'm like, I don't know, there are some uses to it. It's just underutilized, and no one's ever wanted to try to do it in live action because it seems goofy. But I'm like, I feel like lending it to animation like this does a lot better, and it makes it significantly more believable that she could be, a threat.
Yeah, it would be. I'd like to imagine that after this, when hopefully we finally do get some more live action X-Men stuff, that we can see Jubilee come out, because I think that's surely something they'll do, is they'll crack out some of the more deep cut, less used mutants.
I mean, if the MCU can find a way to make her cool, or make her cool in live action, you know what I mean? Like, I would absolutely be about it. And if they could do some stuff where like the X-Men of like the X-Men 97 maybe go into the MCU, like, oh well, they went through a portal and now they're in this universe 616 or something. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, I'll be up for that.
I really do like this last part where she she's about to use the parachute. They shoot out of her hand, and then she ends up just hopping off, like kind of Marty McFly style.
It is pretty decent, yeah. It does go on for slightly too long, where I thought for a minute we were going to see her just like suddenly realizing, like, oh shit, oh shit, nothing's going to save me.
Yeah, but that is pretty cool, and yeah, I enjoy it. It's pretty, and then we get to see this next scene of let me see, what is it? Oh yeah, okay. So here we go. We jump back to the final part where the X-Men finally go back to their time, or at least one group of them. Because like I said, we focus a lot on the future stuff. It takes 2 whole episodes, and then the final thing is we go to now it's finally in the past.
Yeah, we actually start seeing what's happening in the past, which is kind of cool. The past sort of becomes this interesting, almost Game of Thrones style story as we go on, and we have Apocalypse facing off against the Pharaoh. And interestingly, because there was one voice in this that I recognized immediately.
Which voice is that?
So it is the voice of the Pharaoh, and you have that voice actor in a video clip, I believe, involving a sombrero.
Oh, holy! Wait a second. Are you saying like the guy who played Q?
Yeah, John Delancey.
What?
John Delancey is the Pharaoh, and it's kind of a next generation reunion, because Baal is Michael Dorn, who played Worf.
What? Okay, hang on. We're gonna see if we get in trouble for playing the audio for it. But here, let's see. All right, if it'll play.
I can't hear the audio. You might not be sharing audio.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm not sharing audio. But either way, all right. So yeah, I had to listen to it one more time. That was awesome. Yeah, it is. I can't even believe it. Okay, that's a great choice. And Baal. When does I forget when in the episode does Baal show up?
Baal is Apocalypse's friend, like his sort of right hand man who doesn't trust Magneto.
Right. The other dude in like his army.
Yeah.
The guy with like the eye paint. Okay, yeah, no, I remember who you're this dude.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
But that's really that. You know what? Good choice. Good choice for. I think I did recognize Michael Dorn, but yeah, I didn't realize that it was John Delancey, and that's dude. Again, great choices. Hang on, sorry about that. I don't know. I'm sure you guys didn't hear it, but I just did because it was loud as shit in my ear. But yeah, so I think it was a cool choice that we have. So we have the 3 different open. We have the one with Storm, Wolverine, Cyclops, and all that. We have this one with Beast and all. Like we have 3 separate openings across 3 separate episodes, and I think that's just a really, kudos to the fucking animators for taking that kind of time.
Oh yeah, no, it's a great little moment. It's a good idea. It helps establish, okay, here's who we're going to see now, and I like that we're sort of treating them all with the same weight. Like what they're doing is just as important as what anyone else is doing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Like I guess when I said that the past takes up 2 episodes, it really doesn't. They just they jump back to it. But yeah, it's the future, the present, and then the past. And so each episode has its own time frame that they're focusing on. But yeah, again, I think that the past, this one gets a lot more of like lore because it shows exactly what's going on around it. Like you see, like there's wars going on. There's like this crazy ass here if we can, yeah, there's this crazy ass like dome out in the background. Like that's not supposed to be there.
Yeah,
So
which it feeds into sort of what's happening in the timelines, and this is where I'm assuming things will be revealed more as we go on because someone mentions, I think Magneto mentions to Charles, like this guy has obviously gotten technology from the future, so we sort of need to find out how that's happened. Like, is it going to tie into, I don't know, like Mr. Sinister maybe or something like from the first season because Mr. Sinister was heavily involved. Or yeah, who could it be? Is that just a regular giant elephant? Is it just a big elephant, or did we
like a
go to
robot
the Lord of the
elephant?
Rings dimension?
See, yeah, I'm like, I'm willing to bet it's probably going to end up being like a dimensional thing. It's like it's not even going to be a future or a past thing. It's going to be like, oh, well, we went to another universe. I found a wormhole to another portal or something. Like because it's very, at least to me, because the first season had the Watcher, one episode of Daredevil Born Again, like the episode where Vanessa dies. You can kind of see the silhouette of the Watcher in the background, and people clocked it right away as an Easter egg. So I'm watching this, and I'm like, okay, there's going to be multiverse shenanigans. That's what they're building towards with Doomsday. So I'm sure that's what they're going to sprinkle in somewhat with this.
Okay, that makes sense.
So that's where I'm at. Is I'm like, we're going to reveal that whoever gave this guy the technology or the guy himself is just from another universe. He's full on, like, which could also explain why they had the John Delancey, because it's like, that Easter egg of, oh, it's Q. He can travel to other dimensions, other universes, other things.
That's a very good point. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I'm like, I just see little strings. Just I'm sitting here like Charlie with Pepe Sylvia.
Carol.
Carol. There is no Carol in HR. No, but so yeah, this whole thing's pretty cool. I do enjoy watching like early kind of like Apocalypse being like kind of like the Magi, fucking attack, like taking down trying to take down this like evil Pharaoh. Like it almost kind of made it seem like he could have been a good guy.
Yeah.
Which makes it really shitty that it's Magneto, the one who's in his ear being like, "Oh, you could be a god amongst insects. We could fight and destroy the human." instead of goddamn Charles Xavier being like, "Oh no, humans are good. We could be friends with them."
I mean, he's trying to be, he's trying to do something a bit more. Like he's telling him not to kill the guy that they capture, and that there's another way to do this, and sort of trying to see if they can turn him into a good guy rather than just kill baby Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm. I also like this, instead of Xavier being out there, he just astral projects himself. It's like, if you can do that, why don't you do that all the time, man?
Yeah, so like, and presumably like wherever Beast is, like Charles has just slumped in a chair somewhere in a corner, and like, oh, don't mind him.
Right, he's just all he's like the Matrix, just like, wake me up if something happens.
Every now and then, like Rogue has to wipe the drool off his chin.
But yeah, they argue about whether or not there's like, oh, you can't trust Apocalypse, and Magneto's like, he's not Apocalypse yet. We can make it. We can make him better. And it's like, dude, your influence is what makes him Apocalypse. Like that's the vibe I'm getting, is that it's going to show that like the reason that Apocalypse is because the fucking X-Men were there to influence him to become Apocalypse.
It is kind of what happens, yeah, because rather than it necessarily being Magneto tells him to do something wrong, even when he's trying to be good, it's the fact that he lies, and they start to realize that there's something different going on with the X-Men, because in an earlier scene, or maybe this scene, there is the moment where Apocalypse and his horde kill a bunch of robots, and it's Nightcrawler's job to secretly go out and collect pieces of those robots to bring back to Beast, which Beast is currently trying to build, I believe, a way to get back to the 90s.
Yeah, like they show like that was pretty cool too, is that showing like the silhouette of like full powered Apocalypse to this. But yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. That after that, like we have, yeah, Nightcrawler having to collect. I mean, I don't know much about science. I'm gonna be the first one to tell you that. I don't know if like robots with like circuit boards and whatever motorized joints and shit. I don't know if those are gonna be the right thing to make your time machine. Like I don't like I'm not sure what a flux capacitor is made of, but I don't think it's circuit board and like little motors.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And if Beast is, it returns me to Forge's powers. If Beast can do this, what good is Forge? Forge is like a weak beast. Like, what's the point?
No, you're absolutely right. It's like doesn't make any goddamn sense. And like them also, where's Bishop? Like Bishop was supposed to go to the past and find them. I don't know if you noticed that he is nowhere to be found.
That is a very good point. Yeah,
And then Forge even says is like, oh well, we both went to to our respective times, and we were supposed to come back to this exact point to meet when we found you guys, and he's not here. They're not here yet. So that means that clearly something went horribly wrong.
yeah, it's time travel. You can't be late.
I suppose, yeah, I suppose that's true. Or can you? It's like, yeah, a time traveler is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. Nah, but again, I'm like, I feel like this is destined to not work because again, you're using robot parts to work your time machine or to power your jury rigged time machine. And he even like gets angry. He's like, we're trying to build something with Tinker toys. I'm like, yes, you are. What are you doing?
I mean, I get it. Like they're the best options he's got. Thousands of years into the past.
Mm. Like I like how they're also just allowing Magneto, like all of them, like we got Beast, we got Rogue, we got Nightcrawler. None of them are like monitoring Magneto and being like, dude, why are you being friends with this? Like they just letting him just have full run of like the Psycho.
Do you remember when you completely flipped on us like a month ago?
Right.
You were just straight up trying to kill us.
Like remember when you ripped Wolverine's metal out of his body and just kind of like went on like nothing happened? It's like, bro.
It was so fucking cool though.
No, it was an awesome scene, but I'm just saying, it's like the fact that they're just letting this guy just run around without any kind of like supervision or anything. I'm like, bro, you guys are stupid. Like again, it's your guys' fault that Apocalypse just becomes who he is.
There's some points in this where I start getting a bit questioning about Magneto's powers. Weirdly, now I might have to do some a little bit of research, but kind of like, if I remember rightly, there wasn't necessarily a lot of iron going around during the Egyptian era.
I don't. Yeah, no, I think that, so. Iron. Yeah, I think that was like I think they were in like the bronze or like a. Yeah, like
Yeah,
they were not near steel or like iron yet, so he wouldn't be able to have control of that. However, I'm sure you've seen those videos of people like throwing magnets into sand, and then a bunch of like those iron shards come up out of the ground.
yeah. I could see maybe something like that because I think there's a moment in this, I think, where Magneto stops Apocalypse's sword, and I'm like, that would not be made from a ferrous metal.
See, now here's the question: there is it have to be a magnetized like I know they call him the master of magnetism, so it implies that it has to be like a magnetizable, like it has to be like something that is magnetized or can be magnetized. So like iron, steel, like I don't know, I don't think maybe copper. I'm not sure.
No,
No,
not
yeah.
not usually copper. No.
So yeah, copper's out, gold is out, silver is out. Like, but we've seen him control things like that before. So it's like maybe it's just that he has just metal. Like it's not that he's magnetized, is that he controls metal.
I guess. Sure.
But then
Okay.
he also can control the magnetic fields of our planet. Like he shuts off all of our. He makes a giant EMP. So it's like I don't know. It's odd. I think maybe we could just cartoon the writers of this cartoon don't know history.
Yeah, just hand wave. It's something.
It's like, it's metal. What difference does it make? What metals aren't magnetic, really? But yeah, no, I think you're right about that. Is that that said, it could also be maybe the hand wavium thing that we're using is it's like they're using futuristic technology. You know, so well, now they figured out steel. Now they figured out, all these other things that they shouldn't have yet. I mean, like the robots have laser whips, so I'm sure that they could figure out how to make a
Yeah,
steel sword.
yeah, you're probably right.
But
The
yeah, so they
robots
start.
have laser whips.
I mean, it's true. We see them whipping the slaves with laser whips, and I'm like, what the? It's like, wouldn't a normal whip just work just as well? Why does it need to be a laser? Because it hurts more.
Yeah, because it's the X-Men, and the X-Men can only get shot at with lasers.
So okay, so I want to talk about this. Like we do have a point where like they capture the guy. Like we had this. I kind of skipped over it earlier, but we have this cool part where the dude on the elephant gets like flipped around by Apocalypse, which is probably one of the coolest scenes of this episode. Like I think that's kind of badass. And I'm like, tell me you wouldn't want to see that in like a live act. Oh shit, here, let me bring it up. There we go. Tell me you wouldn't want to see this in like live action, like a giant elephant going all fucking Lord of the Rings. Just
that was pretty cool.
There we go. Him like his whole attack. Like I thought that was pretty cool. And so when we get to that, they end up having like an interrogation scene with that guy who was on the elephant. And you're right. Like Magneto tells him like they like counsel him not to kill him, like just to use like to probe his mind, see what information he has, and see what he knows. And so I want to talk about this scene, which is like the final scene of the like pretty much almost the final scene of the episode. It is Xavier goes into his mind and sees all of this stuff and ends up talking to like an entity that I don't know. It kind of reminded me of Master Mold, but it doesn't. But I mean, it obviously is not Master Mold. It's like who? Any theories? Any thoughts on who this is that he's talking to?
I don't know. I don't know whether it's was it Nimrod maybe that it could have been, or
because I'd like to think that it's not just another Sentinel thing, or yeah, that's another thing about Sentinels. Like like I thought maybe this could be like a Celestial or something like in his mind.
Oh, could be, yeah, maybe if they want to bring the celestial things back. And yeah, I suppose probably not Nimrod because he's Days of Future Past rather than Age of Apocalypse.
So yeah, I'm not sure. But although they could be also doing a Days of Future Past-esque thing because the first episode of this premiere was called Days of Past Future.
That is true. That is true. Yeah.
So
which
maybe it
might be another repeat then.
Yeah, maybe it's like Days of Future Past, but like they're changing up like how it happens because of like, oh well, now they're in 3 different points of history. Now they're making it all like timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly stuff.
Yeah, I suppose it could be also just strange stuff like if it's something like Nimrod, presumably if the Age of Apocalypse happens, then that gets in the way of the Days of Future Past future. So if you want that future to happen, then you need to stop Apocalypse from happening because you don't want him to take over your future. I don't know.
Exactly. It's like
it's time travel. They can do whatever they like once you decide certain things about time travel in your universe.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, yeah, if you watch the Days of Future Past movie, like they don't understand X-Men notoriously does not understand how time travel works. So they're just gonna do whatever they want. And at the end of the episode, by the episode 10, we're gonna have an entirely retconned universe that's gonna somehow be in the MCU.
That'd be cool.
$5 says they're gonna show like, or the next thing they're going to do is at the end of the episode, they're going to be like, oh, this weird thing happened. This weird space phenomenon happened. And now this lady calling herself Captain Marvel showed up. Like it's going to be the ending of the Marvels, but it's going to be the end of this as well. It's going to have Hank McCoy going in and meeting with like Photon or whatever her name is.
That would be kind of cool. I'd be up for that.
Some stuff like that is going to happen. That's my theory.
That happened at the end of the Marvels.
Mm-hmm.
I've forgotten a lot of Marvels.
I tell you, man. But anyway, so all right. So I guess there was more part that I forgot about. Let's talk about this. Like, oh, they found their okay, yeah. So they Apocalypse and his guys. They find their time travel, their time machine. They find all the shit that they're doing, and they take them like hostage. And I guess is Magneto in on this during that?
I assumed not. Given that like this is a moment where the little good that Magneto was trying to do with Apocalypse sort of all gets turned around on him, and Apocalypse, is like, no, I'm not going to follow you anymore. You've been lying to me. So
And then
yeah,
chops the dude's head up. Yeah.
yeah, I assume this might be feeding more into this thing of the question of, can they actually change this at all? Are they just in a closed loop? So anything they do now is what's going to happen anyway. That they had to be here, just like they were having that discussion in the future. So I suppose what will come into it is then, what does the Pharaoh actually turn out to be? Who is the Pharaoh, and how does he play into all this? How has he gotten this future technology? He seems to have either highly advanced technology things there or powers of his own, and how they fit into this.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna feel I'm feeling like it's gonna be like, again, a multiverse kind of thing of like this guy traveled from another universe and it turns out he's like a Kang variant or something like that, or something. I feel like we're gonna get that kind of reveal, of like, oh yeah, he's just a Kang variant, or he's Reed Richards from another universe, or he's Doctor Doom from another universe.
Oh yeah, that could work
Like,
out.
so like something along those lines, and that will lead into our what they're building up for future like Marvel stuff, because they keep on, every Marvel thing they've done in the last like 4 or 5 years has been sprinkling in like a little bit of multiverse things, like X-Men here, Fantastic Four over there, like, oh, there's multiverses you know what I mean. So I feel like that's what they're building up to. I could be wrong, but I think that's where they're going.
No, I think you're right, and they've got to work it out somehow. Because damn it, you've had Fox for long enough. Give us our X-Men. We want more X-Men. Give us better X-Men than we've had previously.
I mean, seriously though. Well, I guess that's pretty much where the end of the episode is. Like, we get to see like a little bit of what's going to happen in the next one. We get to see like them dude building like a super weapon with the like he basically has the Egyptian Death Star. And yeah, so I'm like, we get to see that, and that's pretty much the end of it, is him like powering it up and attacking Apocalypse's like a base. So I guess now I got to ask the question: how did you feel about this premiere? Because I think it beats the first season premiere. I think it's so far has been better than the first season. Like with these three episodes, and I'm looking forward to the next episode. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I felt pretty good about it. I think we jump into some intriguing storylines immediately. I think the way that they've split them out across the three timelines is a good idea. I think that it means that you can have different stories, so you don't get too fatigued with one or the other. Even though, like we said, some of the stuff in the future overstays its welcome just a little bit too much. With the agonizing over whether Scott and Jean are going to raise their son or not. But it's a great tool to use to sort of have these interweaving plots going on, and we've sort of got somewhere to go when things get a little bit slow with other stories. No, yeah, I really liked it, and the animation has kept up. It's a great quality animation, a great style, and they're doing good action within it. There is, I think, one scene where they go somewhere, they go to like a club, I think, and you can see that no one put the effort of the animation into the people dancing in that club. It's some real old school, like, it's 4 frames of them just looping.
That's one thing I want to say, is that like some of the animation looks a little weird, looks a little, I don't want to say janky, but it looks a little like different. And I don't know if that's just like the program they're using, how they're animating it these days, or if it's just like they're being a little lazy with it. But it looked a little strange, like in some places. Like, I don't know if you noticed that yourself, but like with the dancers, with some of the people in the back, like when they're in the arcade, Sunspot and Jubilee, like the people in the background like aren't moving. They look a little like weirdly, like some of the faces details don't look fully there. So I don't know. I mean, I think they're kind of cutting corners in some regards, but that's just, I mean, if you've watched any of like the, what's it called, Invincible, I don't know if you watch any of Invincible, it kind of has the same problem. So maybe that's just the new thing with animation.
It probably is. I mean, a lot of the time with animation, they're actually trying to cut down on moving parts, to make it faster and to save money. So I
Mhm.
assume it's that. It's just, they put their effort into certain scenes, pardon me, like the Jubilee fight, but it's not going into everything. And in a way, for me, I feel like it helps it feel more authentic. It reminds me of the older animated shows where you would notice a bit of jank as you got older, and you start going like, "Oh yeah, that's weird." Like when you get older, and then you realize that Scooby Doo runs down the same hallway every single time.
Mhm. No, I know what you mean. Like the reused footage, or like when you notice that like the animators didn't color the frame correctly, so like the hair changes color for like a split second, and it's
Yeah,
like, wait, what the hell? Yeah, stuff like that. I know what you. Okay, yeah, and maybe that's also just a design choice. Maybe they're doing it on purpose to make you feel like it's the '90s again.
it's possible.
But either way, I want to ask, where do you rate this? Like out of these, like this premiere, out of five mutant callers, where do you rate this?
I think I'm gonna give it. Uh, hmm. I'm struggling. I might say a 3 in terms of like if I was going to recommend this to other people. I think I'd say a 3 because if you are already bought in, if you watched the cartoon back in the 90s, if you watched it as a kid and you know this sort of X-Men universe and you've got a love for it, then this is just more of that and you're going to have a great time and it's going to carry on, exploring ideas that are always fun to see in that world. If you're not as into it, I do think that the way that this starts, and to be honest, even the first season starts, it's a bit inaccessible because there are
Mhm,
so many people introduced to you immediately, and like if you know most of the core X-Men characters, then you can deal with Polaris showing up and being like, "Oh, I'm not too sure about that one, but I know Emma Frost because I've seen Emma Frost in something before." Um,
mhm.
but if you're new to it, I think this is going to be quite overwhelming. It's like, no, who the fuck's that? Who's that? Who's this guy?
No, I think you might be right on that one. Like, if you're gonna start with X Men, you may want to start with the season one of it. Don't just jump if you're not familiar with the show. Don't just jump into season two with thinking, oh, I got it. There's gonna be, like you said, a lot of characters you don't know.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, no, I think a 3 is pretty right on. Like I maybe a 3.5 for me because I'm like, again, there's a couple of scenes that I really enjoyed, and I'm like, again, that Jubilee scene. I'm like, you know what, you guys are finding ways to actually like you're listening at least to me, and I like that.
yeah.
No, but I'm gonna give it a 3.5. Like I think it works really well, and I'm looking forward to whatever these next episodes are. We might have to wait a few episodes before we do our next review of them because I don't know how much we're gonna have in just one episode reviews.
Mm,
Mm,
yeah.
but I think that's where we're gonna wrap it up, everybody. Like this has been a pretty good see. If you like X Men, you're gonna like this show. So go watch it. Whether that means Disney Plus or other means, go watch it. But I think that, yeah, like I said, we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you guys all for being. Well, I saw a couple of you guys in here like lurking. No one really chatted, but thanks to anyone who was sitting here watching and listening, and anyone who listens after the fact. Anything you want to say, Harris, before we head out?
A couple of things to keep an eye on. So there should be another video coming out soon on the channel. I've got a bunch of stories recorded, so I'm going to put them into a video to have another audiobook. And also keep an eye on our friend a dead guy audio comics. We're doing a Hellraiser audio comic, and there is a teaser video out for that now that you can go watch on his channel.
Yeah, and he's actually working on a bunch of stuff. Like I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about. He has like a Punisher comic that he's casting right now that he's asking me to do a cameo in. So yeah, be on the lookout for all the awesome stuff that this dude makes. Our buddy Dead Guy is he's great.
He just put out a Spider-Man video, I think.
Spider-Man versus Predator, I believe.
Yes.
And so yeah, be on the lookout for Harrison's future audiobook that's coming out soon. Be on the lookout, like in a couple, like, I believe next weekend we're going to be not doing. I'm not going to be here for the podcast. So Harrison, if you want to take over a stream that week and just do something like maybe a choose your own adventure, or even like whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's okay.
but yeah, I will be at Toon Fusion Albuquerque, so I'll be getting. You'll be on the lookout for another cosplay video coming out soon.
Awesome.
And yeah, but until next time, I have been Gilbert.
I've been Harry.
And this has been the Fulcrum Entertainment Podcast. I want to thank you guys all for being here. Thank you guys for listening. And of course, thank you to the Fulcrum Council, Peaky Arrow Productions. We appreciate you so much for being a member. And we will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.